For this next story, viewer discretion is advised. It contains some potentially disturbing themes. We live in a house that's about 100 years old, so in American terms, it's a little bit older, and it has a fieldstone basement, which is quite porous. What that means is that every fall, when the weather turns cold, we get little critters that end up getting into the house. What that means in turn is that we have to respond in kind, and part of our winter preparation every year is to lay down some mouse traps to try and keep said critters from infesting the house. It's necessary. And in thinking that we should take kind of the most efficient or best possible approach, we got some reusable mouse traps that seemed to work pretty well at first. But those mouse traps, those reusable mouse traps, were not exactly ideal either, in that if the mouse wasn't in the right place at the right time, it wouldn't do a clean kill. What that meant is that one morning when I went to check the traps, I found a mouse that is a vole, and its cute little eyes were looking at me, still alive, its back end completely crushed. And my heart sank. I wasn't sure exactly what to do at that point. I mean, I didn't want to cause any further harm. There's no way to repair the damage that had been done. And so I treated it as I would have a dead mouse. I took the critter, still alive, and I put him into our trash bin. Didn't throw him in there violently or anything, but let the little guy kind of laid him there and closed the lid and went about my day. And that day was about going for a bike trip. So I hopped on my bike, got out into the countryside, but I couldn't help continue to think of what I'd done. I left a living creature potentially suffering in a blue bucket to expire. It just wasn't right. So I raced home as quickly as I could. It wasn't the longest bike trip I've taken. And when I got back, I lifted the lid on the barrel, and there were those eyes still looking at me. And it was clear what I had to do. I went ahead and lifted the little guy out, its back leg still crushed, its back end crushed, as best as I could, as gently as I could. Got a couple of paper towels and a pedal wrench, and I laid the paper towels over the top of the vole so it wouldn't be scared about whatever would happen next, or wouldn't get to see what was coming, and then gave it as heavy and swift a blow with the pedal wrench as I could. And then a second time, just to be absolutely sure that the job had been done. And after that, it was quite clear that the vole had been killed. And so back into the bucket it went. Its little life expired. And soon after that went also the reusable traps, because I couldn't tolerate the thought that that would happen again. So we still use mouse traps, but we now use the ones that are more of the traditional wooden board, single use, that have been proven to be deadly and effective. And there's not much else to say to this other than it's regrettable, but when faced with a number of different needs, which are potentially in conflict with each other, you kind of take the best one that's possible, and that's what this direction seems to be.